Hello friends, I'm Dr. Khalil and in this video I'll be talking to you about the imaging findings in COVID-19. We'll discuss the radiological aspects in imaging of COVID-19. We'll talk about the role of chest radiograph, the role of CT scan, ultrasound findings. We'll understand what is SCORADS and at the end we'll also discuss about the CT severity score. We will start the discussion by trying to understand some misconceptions regarding the imaging of COVID 19, and then I'll take you sequentially to the appearances on chest radiograph, CT scan, and ultrasound. So, what do you think is the imaging modality which is used as a first line modality for imaging in patients of COVID 19? Is it a chest radiograph, CT scan, ultrasound, or what investigation do you think as a preferred first line imaging modality? So, because I'm asking for an imaging modality, please remember the answer here is not CT. The preferred imaging modality for imaging in patients of COVID 19 is a chest radiograph. Chest radiograph should be your primary modality while imaging COVID 19 patients. Now, is the chest radiograph used for screening of your patients or for diagnosis of COVID 19? Do we use chest radiograph for screening or for diagnosis of COVID 19? Please remember, we do not use chest radiograph for screening of patients of COVID 19 and neither we use it for diagnosis. We should not use for screening or diagnosis. Chest radiograph is not used routinely for screening or diagnosis of COVID 19 patients. Is CT chest used for screening or diagnosis of COVID 19 patients? Please remember, even CT chest should not be used for screening as well as for diagnosis of COVID 19 patients. There is no role of imaging in the screening as well as diagnosis of COVID 19 patients. Does a normal chest radiograph rule out COVID 19 in our patients? The answer is no. A normal chest radiograph does not rule out COVID 19. The patients may have COVID 19 and still have a normal chest radiograph. So, a normal chest radiograph does not rule out COVID 19. Does a normal CT rule out COVID 19? Please remember, even a normal CT does not rule out COVID 19. So, even a normal CT does not rule out COVID 19. The patient may still have COVID 19 and have a normal CT chest. Now, try to answer this. Is chest radiograph recommended for a patient coming with flu or influenza like symptoms during this current pandemic? Do you want to get a chest radiograph if a patient is coming to you with flu or influenza like symptoms now? The answer is no. We do not advise chest radiograph or imaging for patients who are coming with flu or influenza like symptoms even during this pandemic. Is imaging required in confirmed COVID 19 patients with mild symptoms? So, do you advise imaging in confirmed COVID 19 patients having mild symptoms? And the answer again here is no. We do not advise imaging, neither chest radiograph, neither CT, even if the patient is a confirmed COVID 19 and has just mild symptoms, we do not want him to undergo any imaging. If he is a confirmed RT-PCR positive COVID 19 patient only having mild symptoms, no role of imaging, no chest radiograph, no CT required. And I know by now, after answering all these questions, your expressions must be one among these. But I want you to stay hold. By the end of this discussion, you will have much better clarity on the role of imaging in COVID 19. So, what is the specific test for diagnosis of COVID 19? Please remember, the specific test for diagnosis of COVID 19 is an RT-PCR. There is no role of imaging in screening or diagnosis. The specific test for diagnosis is RT-PCR. And when is imaging advised to our patients? Imaging is advised in patients of COVID 19 if they are suspected to have a worsening respiratory status. So, if you have a patient with COVID 19 and a worsening respiratory status, then we advise going ahead with imaging in these patients. How do we approach a case who is having a severe acute respiratory illness who presents to you during this pandemic? Please understand, if you have a patient with severe acute respiratory illness who is presenting you during this pandemic, not with regular flu like symptoms, not with mild symptoms, but with severe acute respiratory illness, and if you are suspecting COVID in that patient, how should you approach in that patient? So when a patient is coming with severe acute respiratory illness, the first imaging modality that you're asked to do is a chest radiograph. Get a chest radiograph done. And this chest radiograph may show you a COVID pattern, or it could be a normal chest radiograph, or it could show non-COVID appearance or non-COVID pattern on the chest radiograph. What is a COVID pattern on the chest radiograph? The COVID pattern on the chest radiograph is the presence of bilateral, peripheral, ground glass opacities and consolidations that you may see on the chest radiographs. This is the classic COVID pattern on the chest radiograph. Sometimes the patient could have a normal chest radiograph and presents to you with severe acute respiratory illness, and during this pandemic, because chest radiographs can be normal in a patient of COVID-19, always try to get a RT-PCR done if you are suspecting that the patient could be a COVID suspect. And if there is non-COVID pattern, like the presence of perihilar opacities, like that we see in batwing opacities as in pulmonary edema, or you are seeing specific lobar consolidations that you see in bacterial pneumonias, you need not go for a RT-PCR. If you are seeing a classic COVID pattern, or if you are seeing a normal chest radiograph, you may advise RT-PCR, but you may see a non-COVID pattern like perihilar involvement, some cavitations, apical lung involvement, or you are seeing lobar consolidations, right? In such cases, you would go for specific investigations like get a CT scan done if you're suspecting pneumonias or tuberculosis. Now, let us try to understand how should be our imaging strategy in a COVID positive patient, a RT-PCR confirmed COVID positive patient. How do we approach with our imaging strategy in these patients? Once we have a confirmed COVID positive patient, check whether the patient is having mild symptoms or moderate or severe symptoms. If the patient is having mild symptoms, and if the patient is on home or hospital isolation and just has some mild symptoms, we do not advise any further imaging. No imaging is required. Even if he is COVID positive with mild symptoms, no imaging required. But if the patient has mild symptoms with high risk factors of having a worsening respiratory status, so if the patient has high risk factors, he is confirmed COVID positive with mild symptoms but has high risk factors like he is having diabetes, elderly age group, kidney, lung or cardiac problems, immunocompromised patients, in such patients it is advised to get a chest radiograph done. So mild symptoms, no risk factors, no further imaging is required. But mild symptoms has high risk factors, get a chest radiograph done in the patient if you are expecting that the patient may have a worsening respiratory status. If the patient is coming to you with moderate or severe symptoms, then get a chest radiograph done at baseline. So get a baseline chest radiograph done and observe the patient. If the patient is having clinical improvement, there is clinical improvement in the patient, no further imaging is required. But if there is clinical deterioration in the patient, or there is atypical findings on the chest radiograph, or you are suspecting complications developing in the patient, at that time you can advise further imaging like CT scan or ultrasound in the patient. So this should be your imaging approach for a confirmed COVID positive patient. Mild symptoms, no risk factor, no imaging required. Mild symptoms, high risk factor, get a chest radiograph done. Moderate or severe symptoms, get a baseline chest radiograph. If there is clinical improvement, no further imaging required. But if there is clinical deterioration, or you are suspecting complications to be developing in the patient, or you are finding atypical findings on the chest radiograph, please go ahead and get further imaging as required. A CT scan, ultrasound can be advised to that patient. So this is how your approach should be. Don't get radiographs done in all confirmed cases with mild symptoms. Do it only if you're expecting there could be worsening respiratory status in the patient. Let's try to understand the imaging strategy that we use in our patients with COVID-19. The first line modality that we use for imaging COVID-19 patients is a chest radiograph. CT scan should be used only under some special conditions. Ultrasound can be used as an adjunct, okay, when you're suspecting some worsening of the pneumonia or ARDS. And always try to avoid non-essential imaging, transportation to the radiology department. Always go for portable chest radiographs, portable ultrasounds. Okay, avoid all non-essential or imaging and transportation to the radiology department of these patients. So let's sum up the imaging strategy that we use in our patients with COVID-19. The first imaging modality is chest radiograph. CT should be used in specific conditions where we are looking for complications, or if you're finding atypical findings, or there is a worsening respiratory status in the patient. Ultrasound should be used as a adjunct in cases of worsening pneumonias or ARDS for bedside evaluation. Avoid all non-essential transport to the department. All non-essential imaging and transport to the radiology department should be avoided during these times. Now let's understand each of these modalities in more detail. When do we use chest radiograph in our patients with COVID-19? So chest radiograph in COVID positive patients should be used when they have moderate to severe symptoms at baseline. And we are using chest radiograph in evaluation of COVID-19 positive patients with mild symptoms only if they have high risk factor for developing a severe disease. And what are the risk factors? Elderly age group, cardiovascular problems, immunocompromised patients, diabetes patients, patients with chronic liver, kidney or lung diseases. So chest radiograph for all moderate to severe cases, mild cases with risk factors. And what is the finding that we see on a chest radiograph? So on chest radiograph, the classic finding is predominantly peripheral, multiple, bilateral ground glass opacities and consolidations. As you can see here, these peripheral, bilateral, multiple areas of consolidation and ground glassing is a classic pattern on chest radiograph of COVID-19. Now let's try to understand what is the role of chest CT in imaging of COVID-19. Please remember, we do not use chest CT in the routine screening or diagnosis of COVID-19 patients. Use chest CT in a suspected case when the patient is having RT-PCR negative but there is a strong clinical suspicion in the patient. The patient is having a worsening respiratory status, there is a strong clinical suspicion but the RT-PCR is negative. In such case, you can get a chest CT done. We can also do it when there is a equivocal or indeterminate chest radiograph pattern. To further confirm the appearances, right, you can get a chest CT if the chest radiograph findings are equivocal. And in emergency surgeries or in emergency interventions planned and we don't know the COVID status of the patient, and if there is an emergency surgery or emergency intervention planned in the patient, we can get a chest CT. If RT-PCR will take time for you to get the report, and in an emergency situation you would want to know the COVID status of the patient, you can get a chest CT done. And also get a chest CT done when the molecular diagnostics, the RT-PCRs are not readily available in that area, then you can go for this chest CT. So these are the special times where we use chest CT, not routine screening or diagnosis of COVID-19 patients. When RT-PCR is negative but there is a strong clinical suspicion, when there is a equivocal chest radiograph findings, when the molecular diagnostics RT-PCRs are not available, when you are having an emergency surgery or emergency intervention planned in the patient and you don't know the COVID status of the patient, at these times you can get a CT chest done. And when do we advise chest CT for a proven case of COVID-19? Please remember, for a proven case of COVID-19, chest CT should be reserved for hospitalized symptomatic patients with some specific clinical indication. If you are suspecting some thromboembolic episodes in the patient, if you are seeing a atypical finding on the chest radiograph, if there is complications developing in the patient, or you are having worsening respiratory status in the patient. So in such specific indications only, we advise chest CT. Do not use it for routine screening or diagnosis. Now, what are the key findings that you see on a CT chest in a patient with COVID-19? The key findings that we see in CT chest in COVID-19 is the presence of bilateral, peripheral, multifocal, rounded ground glass opacities. So the presence of these ground glass opacities is a very early finding that you see on CT chest of COVID-19 patients. And these ground glass opacities usually are bilateral. Initially, they can be unilateral, but most of them will be bilateral, more towards the periphery, multifocal, and have a rounded morphology. So, ground glass opacities are the early findings that you see on CT chest, and the classic pattern is bilateral, peripheral, rounded morphologies, and multifocal areas of involvement is seen in COVID 19. They can be thickening of interlobar and interlobular septal lines, producing crazy paving appearance. Right? There is thickening of the interlobar interlobular septa, giving a crazy paving appearance. Areas of consolidation, multifocal consolidations will be seen. Not a lobar consolidation that you see in bacteria, but in case of COVID 19 infections, you see multifocal consolidations. And we see a reverse halo sign, also called as a et al. Sign. And what is this reverse halo sign or et al. Sign? You see a central ground glassing surrounded by peripheral consolidation. So there is a central ground glassing surrounded by peripheral consolidation. This is called as a reverse halo sign or et al. Sign. And what does this ground glass opacity actually mean? The ground glass opacity basically is an area of haziness in the lung where there is increased attenuation, but the vascular markings are intact. The bronchovascular markings are preserved through the haziness in a ground glass opacity. Whereas in consolidation, the area involved would not show you the vascular markings. You may just see the air bronchograms but not the vascular markings. So basically a ground glass opacity is the area of haziness with preservation of bronchovascular markings through that haziness. Whereas consolidation, the bronchovascular markings are obscured. And one more important difference between ground glassing and consolidation is the Hounsfield unit of ground glass opacity is between minus 800 to minus 100 Hounsfield unit, and the consolidation has a Hounsfield units between 20 to 30 Hounsfield units. So basically a ground glassing is a partial filling of the alveoli, and you can see the vascular markings through it. It has a Hounsfield unit of about minus 800 to minus 100. An area of consolidation, you do not see the vascular markings through it. It has more exudates, more collection of the alveoli with fluid, and it has a Hounsfield unit of about 20 to 30 Hounsfield unit. So that is how we differentiate. Let's see some images to get a better clarity on this. So if you can look at this CT scan image, you can see in this area here, this is an area of haziness, and you can see the presence of the vascular markings through that haziness. So this is a ground glass opacity. So ground glass opacity, the vascular markings can be seen easily through the haziness. And if you observe this, this is a area of consolidation, and you are not seeing the vascular markings, and you can see the air bronchogram through it. So this is consolidation. You do not see the vascular markings, but you can see the air bronchograms. This is how a consolidation would appear. In ground glassing, the earlier finding, you have just partial filling of the alveoli with fluid, whereas consolidation, when there is more filling of the alveoli, more exudates in the alveoli, you get this consolidation. Now, if you look at this CT scan image, in this CT scan image, I hope you are able to appreciate the presence of multifocal, peripheral, rounded ground glass opacities. I hope you can see all of these. These are peripheral, and if you observe, they are multifocal, bilateral, right? Bilateral, and try to observe the morphology. They appear rounded. They appear more rounded, right? So these rounded, peripheral, bilateral, multifocal ground glass opacities. This is a key feature on CT scan in COVID-19 patients, and usually they are bilateral. Initially, they can be unilateral, and these are seen in early stages of COVID-19. So you can see in these images also there is bilateral peripheral ground glass opacities in these patients, right? They can be slight subpleural sparing, but usually they are bilateral, peripheral, and multifocal areas of involvement in COVID-19. Now this is a coronal CT scan image, and in this also I hope you are able to appreciate the presence of bilateral, multifocal, rounded ground glass opacities, right? So these are your COVID-19 patients. And in this image, we are able to see that there is thickening of the interlobar and interlobular septal lines, giving this crazy paving appearance. So presence of this crazy paving like appearance. Okay, so these lesions where there is thickening of the interlobar and interlobular septal lines, giving the crazy paving appearance is also a key finding that we see in COVID-19. Crazy paving can also be seen in pulmonary alveolar proteinosis, right, where you have the diffuse crazy paving, right, where you see excess of surfactant in pulmonary alveolar proteinosis. And even in COVID-19, we see this crazy paving appearance. And these are areas of consolidation that you see in these patients. So initially it starts off as ground glass opacities. They can be crazy paving and they can be multifocal areas of consolidation. And in late stages of COVID-19, you may also see what is called as this reverse halo sign or the et al sign. A reverse halo sign or et al sign will have a central ground glassing surrounded by peripheral consolidation. So if you have a central ground glassing surrounded by a peripheral consolidation, this is called as a reverse halo sign or et al sign, also a key finding in cases of COVID-19. This reverse halo sign or et al sign can also be seen in organizing pneumonia. Right, in cryptogenic organizing pneumonia also, you see this finding of et al sign or the reverse halo sign can also be seen in COVID-19 patients. So this is a close differential. Organizing pneumonia is a close differential of COVID-19. Please remember, crazy paving can also be seen with pulmonary alveolar proteinosis, and this crazy paving can also be seen in COVID-19. Right, so remember these important differentials, right? Crazy paving for pulmonary alveolar proteinosis and COVID-19, right? And reverse halo sign with cryptogenic organizing pneumonias as well as COVID-19. And it is also important to understand what are the findings not seen in COVID-19 patients. We do not see pleural effusions, cavitations, lymphadenopathies, pulmonary nodules, the centrilobular nodules. Such findings are usually not seen in COVID-19. And this is an important thing. Remember, pleural effusion, cavitations, pulmonary nodules, lymphadenopathies, these can be seen with tuberculous patients and they are usually absent in case of COVID-19 patients. So that helps you to distinguish these things, especially in our country like India. Okay, it helps us to differentiate which could be tuberculosis and which could be COVID-19. Right, presence of pleural effusions, cavitations, pulmonary nodules and lymphadenopathies are usually absent in COVID-19 patients. Now let's try to understand what are considered to be typical findings, indeterminate findings and atypical findings of COVID-19 on a chest CT. The typical findings we have shown you: the presence of peripheral bilateral ground glassing, presence of multifocal ground glass opacities of rounded morphology, presence of consolidations, multifocal consolidations, crazy paving with thickening of the interlobar and interlobular septal lines, and the reverse halo sign or the et al sign. This is classic typical findings. What are considered to be indeterminate appearance? If you have perihilar unilateral ground glass opacities, instead of having peripheral, if they are perihilar, and if they are non-rounded, non-peripheral, if there is more diffuse involvement, all this would be indeterminate pattern. And what are atypical findings with COVID-19? Presence of an isolated lobar consolidation, not a multifocal consolidation, presence of a lobar consolidation would more go in favor of a bacterial pneumonia rather than a COVID-19. Presence of any discrete small nodules, centrilobular nodules or trine bud opacities are usually unusual with COVID-19. They are more in favor of endobronchial spread of TB, active tuberculosis, bronchiolitis, but atypical in COVID-19. Presence of lung cavitations or pleural effusions also are atypical findings in COVID-19. They indicate usually more in association with tuberculosis rather than COVID-19. So have this idea which are typical findings, what is indeterminate findings, and what are your atypical findings or findings that you don't usually see in COVID-19. Moving on to the next thing, try to answer this question. What does CORADS-5 indicate? Does it indicate mild infection of COVID-19? Does it indicate moderate infection, severe infection of COVID-19, or a very high suspicion of COVID-19? What does CORADS-5 indicate? Please remember, CORADS does not talk about the severity of infection. CORADS talks about the level of suspicion, and CORADS-5 is a very high suspicion for COVID-19. So CORADS-5 talks about the level of suspicion, not about severity. So CORADS-5 indicates there is a very high suspicion of the patient being a COVID positive patient. It does not talk about severity. Now, what does CORADS stand for? Remember, CORADS stands for COVID-19 Reporting and Data System. COVID-19 Reporting and Data System. So to standardize the way we report our patients with COVID-19, okay, all the imaging reports of COVID-19, to standardize the way we report them, we have developed this reporting system called as CORAD system, COVID-19 reporting and data system. And what does it talk about? Does it talk about severity or level of suspicion? It talks about the level of suspicion. Does not talk about severity of the disease. It talks about level of suspicion of having COVID-19. Now, let's try to understand what are the different grades of CORADs. CORADs can be given the grades 0 to 6. And what do they talk about? They talk about the level of suspicion, not severity. What does CORAD 0 mean? CORAD 0 means that the image is not interpretable. Basically, you have a technically insufficient image because of maybe artifacts in the image, because the patient is having shortness of breath, he's breathing heavily, you're not getting good images to interpret them, you may have to repeat the scan. That is CORADS 0. CORADS 1 is basically a very low level of suspicion of COVID-19. If you have an image which appears normal, if the lungs are normal, or they could be a non-infectious etiology, like a congestive heart failure pattern where there are perihilar, pulmonary edema, or you're having a patient with any lung masses. So if you're having some non-infectious etiology on the imaging, you can call it as CORADS 1. So either it could be normal lungs or it is having some non-infectious etiology, you call it CORADS 1, very low suspicion of COVID-19. And what is CORADS 2? Remember, CORADS 2 is when we have low suspicion of COVID-19. And this is given when you have findings which are typical for other infections but not COVID-19. For example, on the imaging, you are seeing findings of other infections, typical of other infections like tuberculosis, pleural effusion, train bud opacity, apical involvement, cavitation, which are seen usually in tuberculosis. If you have findings typical of other infections but not of COVID-19, you call it as a CORADS 2. CORADS 3 is an equivocal finding. If you are finding the images showing features compatible with COVID-19 but can also be seen in other diseases. For example, you are seeing ground glassings in patients with septic emboli. So ground glassing can be seen with COVID-19 but also here are seen in patients with septic emboli. Then in such equivocal cases, we give it as CORADS 3. And what does CORADS 4 indicate? CORADS 4 is a high level of suspicion of COVID-19. In this, you may see unilateral ground glassing rather than having the typical bilateral ground glassing. If you are just seeing a unilateral ground glassing, you are seeing multifocal consolidation with unilateral ground glassing. So these can be seen with COVID-19. So this is a high level of suspicion of COVID-19. So this is suspicious of COVID-19. CORADS 5 is very high level of suspicion where you see all the typical findings, bilateral, peripheral, right, multifocal, rounded morphology of ground glassing. The typical appearance, would be CORADS 5, very high level of suspicion of COVID-19. And what is CORADS 6, by the way? CORADS 6 is a proven cause of COVID-19. It is not no more a suspicion now. It's a proven case. An RT-PCR positive case of COVID-19 is given as CORADS 6, and all the description that we give is to make you understand if there are any complications, the level of involvement, the level of fibrosis in the lung. CORADS 6 at the end indicates that it is RT-PCR proven case of COVID-19. So that is how you need to understand this CORADS. CORADS talk about the level of suspicion, not severity. CORADS 0 is not interpretable, technically insufficient image. CORADS 1 is either normal or non-infectious etiology, very low suspicion of COVID-19. Like a patient with a lung mass, with a patient of congestive heart failure findings, or even normal lung will be given CORADS 1, very low suspicion. CORADS 2 is a low suspicion, and this is seen when you have findings typical of other infections which are not seen in COVID-19. Like findings that you see with tuberculosis, if you are seeing that, which are typical of tuberculosis but not with COVID-19, you call it as CORADS 2. CORADS 3 is equivocal, where you can see findings overlapping with COVID-19, as in case of septic emboli. CORADS 4 is a high level of suspicion. Presence of unilateral ground glassing, multifocal consolidations, which can be seen also with COVID-19, is CORADS 4, high level of suspicion. CORADS 5 is a typical appearance, bilateral, peripheral, rounded morphology of ground glass opacities. That would be your CORADS 5, very high level of suspicion of COVID-19. CORADS 6 is a RT-PCR proven case of COVID-19. So this is what is CORADS. Let's try to understand what is a CT severity score. Now we know that the right lung has 3 lobes and the left lung has 2 lobes. And each lobe, based on the extent of involvement, is given scores between 0 to 5. A score 0 indicates there is no involvement. Okay, the lobe is very clear, there are no lesions in that lobe, then we give a score of 0. And the maximum score we give to that lobe is 5 when you see more than 75% of that lobe being affected by these lesions. So we have scores between 0 to 5. So maximum score we can get when there is an extensive involvement of all the lobes, more than 75% involvement of all the lobes is 25, right? 5 in each lobe. So there are 5 lobes total would be 25. So the maximum CT severity score that you can get is what? 25. So how is the scoring done? Each lobe based on the level of involvement is given scores between 0 to 5. 0 if it is completely clear, 5 it is more than 75% of that lobe is involved. And if we have the lobe having only less than 5% of its area affected, we give it a score of 1. If it is having lesions affecting between 5 to 25% of that lobe, we give it a score of 2. If there is lesions between 25 to 50% of that lobe being affected, we call it a score of 3. And if you have lesions between 50 to 75% of that lobe being affected, we give it a score of 4. And if more than 75% of that area is affected, we give it a score of 5. So this is how we evaluate the area of each lobe being affected and then give it a score. So each lobe involved will be given a score. 0 when the lobe is very clear. If it is less than 5% of the lobe affected, we give it a score of 1. 5 to 25% score of 2. 25 to 50% score of 3. 50 to 75% score of 4, and more than 75% of that lobe being affected, we give a score of 5. So the maximum score we can get when all the lobes are extensively involved is 25. So in all the cases, individually we'll give the scores. So what we do is imagine, okay, right upper lobe, it has more than 75% involvement. So imagine I'm giving it a score of 5 here. Imagine right middle lobe has between 50 to 75 involvement, I am giving it a score of 4. Right lower lobe, imagine there are no lesions, I am giving a score of 0. Left upper lobe again has more than 75% involvement, I may give a score of 5. And imagine left lower lobe has no involvement, so I am giving it a score of 0. Then I add up all the scores, 5 plus 5 plus 4, right? So the total score comes as 14 out of the maximum score of 25. So this is for every particular case, we get the CT severity score based on the extent of involvement of the lobes. And what do you interpret out of it? How should you interpret this? So if your total CT severity score is less than 8, we call it a mild infection. If it is between 9 to 15, it indicates a moderate severity. And if it is more than 15, it indicates severe infection. So the total score, if it is less than 8, it is mild, between 9 to 15 is moderate, and more than 15 is considered to be a severe COVID infection. So the severity is given by CT severity score, not by CORADS. CORADS only talks about the level of suspicion. The severity is given by CT severity score. A score less than 8, when you sum up all the lobes, and if you get a score less than 8, it indicates mild infection, and a score more than 15 indicates severe infection. Between 9 to 15 is moderate infection. So now let's look at how a CT chest report format would be. In the chest CT report format, they would mention the duration of symptoms because the lesions of CT chest would progress over a period of time. In the early days, you may see ground glassing, which evolve into crazy pavementing, consolidations, and in late stages, we may see the reverse halo sign. So the early lesions will be ground glassing, which progress on to become crazy pavementing, then consolidations, And finally, at the late stages, we may see the reverse halo sign. So this evolution will take time, and you can correlate this with the duration of the symptoms. Then we describe the CT findings, the classic, typical, bilateral, peripheral, multifocal, rounded appearance, and in which lobes we are seeing, we'll describe them. Then we give a CORAD score to it. And if it's a COVID patient, CORADS 5, CORAD 6 patient, okay, we also mention the CT severity score in the patient. We'll give the scores to each of the lobe. Each lobe between 0 to 5, we will score it and we'll take a sum total and we'll mention the total score. So we'll look at all the lobes, the level of involvement in these lobes, and we give a sum total score. And if we have a score more than 15 out of 25, it usually indicates a severe infection. And we also mention if any other findings that you are seeing, any presence of emphysema, any other complications, any pulmonary thromboemboli you are seeing, all those will also be mentioned. And finally, we'll conclude by saying that these findings are suggestive of a viral pneumonias. Remember, we cannot go directly and write it as a COVID-19 infection because there's a lot of overlap that with the CT findings that you see in COVID-19 with other viral pneumonias, including influenza. So most of the radiologists, they will just mention that these are the findings and these are suggestive of a viral pneumonia. Rather than directly committing to a COVID-19, they will say these are the features suggestive of viral pneumonia. And you should also remember the differentials, close differentials of these findings on CT could be influenza infections, right? Even influenza may have these findings. Organizing pneumonia is a close differential, and even drug reactions. Organizing pneumonia, drug reactions can also show this ground glassings, okay, and patterns very similar to this. So better not to commit to COVID-19. Radiologists will write that these are the findings that are seen and these are suggestive of viral pneumonia can be COVID-19. And you should also remember the differentials, close differentials, the influenza, organizing pneumonias, and drug reactions. Now, let's try to understand what is the role of chest ultrasound while imaging COVID-19. Please remember, chest ultrasound is used as an adjunct to look at the severity of pneumonia or to assess the progression of ARDS. It should not be used as a primary modality, but only while looking at the progression of ARDS or to look at the severity of pneumonia, we can use chest ultrasound as an adjunct. And remember to use a bedside portable ultrasound rather than shifting the patient to the radiology department. And what do you call that? POCUS. And I hope you know what does POCUS stand for? Point of care ultrasound. Point of care ultrasound should be used rather than sending the patient to the radiology department. Go for a portable bedside ultrasound. A point of care ultrasound is used. And what is expected on a normal lung ultrasound? What do you see on a normal lung ultrasound? On a normal lung ultrasound, when you put the ultrasound probe, you will see that there is rib shadows and a pleural line giving a bat wing appearance. So when you put the ultrasound probe, you see these are the rib shadows, this is the pleural line and gives this a bat wing appearance. So you are having this rib, this is the rib shadow and this is the pleural line giving a bat wing appearance. This is a normal appearance on chest ultrasound. And you also see the normal lung sliding, the seashore sign where the lung keeps moving again, coming and touching the chest wall. We also see horizontal reverberation artifacts. Okay, these horizontal reverberation artifacts, which we call it as A lines. So these are normal chest ultrasound findings. The bat wing appearance, the horizontal reverberation artifacts called as A lines, and lung sliding. These are normal findings that you see on a chest ultrasound. What would happen if you have a patient who is having COVID-19 infection? And what do you see in a patient of COVID-19 on a chest ultrasound? In a patient of COVID-19 on chest ultrasound, instead of seeing that normal horizontal A lines, instead of seeing those normal horizontal reverberations called as A lines, instead we see these vertical lines called as B lines. So the classic finding that you see on chest ultrasound in COVID-19 patients is the presence of multiple B lines, and these are more than 3 per lung zone. More than 3 per lung zone will be seen, and these B lines are vertical. You can see this vertical running throughout the lung field, right? Then the more than 3 per lung zone, like a laser beam or a waterfall running throughout the lung field. These are what are called as your B lines. And these B lines, are they specific for COVID-19? No, they can also be seen in cases of interstitial edema, cardiogenic and non-cardiogenic edema. Whenever the air is decreasing and fluid is coming into the lungs, right, into the interstitium or into the lungs, you will start seeing these B lines. So presence of multiple B lines, more than 3 per lung zone, which are going throughout the lung field, this is suggestive of a COVID-19 infection. Can also be seen in interstitial edemas, okay, cardiogenic and non-cardiogenic edemas, pulmonary edemas. You see this multiple B lines. So on a chest ultrasound, when we have the normal lungs, we see this horizontal reverberation artifacts called as A lines. And as the air decreases and fluid starts collecting, like the interstitial fluid, the alveolar edema, right, pulmonary edema, cardiogenic and non-cardiogenic edema starts developing, you start seeing these B lines, and as it evolves, okay, they'll occupy more and more area of the lung fields. And also once there is area of consolidation, it starts appearing like hepatization or a solid organ nearby. So the lungs start appearing like solid organs like the liver or the spleen, right? So that is how the change happens on the chest ultrasound. So you need to understand that the normal lung will show you A lines. B lines start appearing whenever you have interstitial edemas or pulmonary edema or COVID-19 infections. More than 3 B lines, okay, per lung zone is more indicative of development of a COVID-19 in our patients. And another important point that we see in patients with COVID-19 on a nuclear scan is these ground glass opacities, they show increased uptake of FDG. That is found to be unique of the ground glass opacities of COVID-19. They show an increased uptake of 18 FDG. So we have understood how the chest radiograph appears in COVID-19, how the CT scan appears, how the ultrasound appears, and what finding is seen on the nuclear scan in COVID-19. We also discussed CORADS and also the CT severity index. Let me sum up by showing you this case. So before we end up, I just want to show you some cases that we saw. So this is a case of coronal CT showing this multiple bilateral peripheral ground glass opacities. I'll show you an axial section also here. So here also you can see this on the axial sections also. I hope you can see these multifocal, bilateral, peripheral, rounded ground glass opacities throughout the lung fields. This is how a classic COVID-19 infection would appear. She turned RT-PCR negative after a few days, and she came back with SOB a month later. So 1 month later, this same patient came with RT-PCR negative with SOB, and when we got the testing done, we could see that there are some filling defects in her pulmonary vessels, in the right pulmonary vessels. Repeat. This same patient turned RT-PCR negative after a few days and came back after 1 month with respiratory distress. And when we got our CT scan done, we saw that she was showing filling defects in her right pulmonary vessels, suggestive of a pulmonary thromboembolism. So while imaging of COVID-19 patients, also remember the systemic thromboembolic episodes that can develop in these patients. So this is important while imaging COVID-19 patients to look for systemic thromboembolic episodes. So with this, we conclude the imaging of COVID-19, the radiological aspects. I discussed about the role of chest radiograph, role of CT, role of ultrasound, the imaging strategies to follow, what is CORADS and what is CT severity score. As we understand more about this disease, there may be changes in this strategy, and I'll keep you updated accordingly. All the best for your exams, and I hope you enjoyed this discussion. Thank you so much for your patient listening.